welcome to another episode of Market Markup. This is Lance, co-founder of BH Capital Enterprises, where I teach people how to navigate the markets using price action. What I've been doing during the month of July is what I'm calling a 30-day chart challenge. And each day I just put out a ticker kind of at random, as far as, the tickers that I'm choosing. And I do a visual breakdown, a complete top-down analysis on that ticker and put it out here on YouTube for you guys to dissect and critique and whatever you want to do with it. But keep in mind, this is not any type of investment advice at all. This is strictly for entertainment purposes because I do thoroughly enjoy analyzing price action. If you would like for me to check out any tickers, feel free to leave them in the comments and I will put them in the queue. But let's jump into Qualcomm. So, uh, disclaimer, I do currently hold long positions in Qualcomm. That's just that. Been a shareholder for some years now. But this is the yearly chart that we're looking at right now. And what I'm seeing right here across the bottom is a pretty healthy upward trend overall, in my opinion, on the yearly chart. It appears as though it's trading in an ascending channel here on the yearly chart. So I think that's, pretty significant to keep in mind. As you can see, pretty much every time Qualcomm gets to this area up here, it fades. And 2021 so far is proving that point. So although Qualcomm hit a new all-time high this year, close to 168, it has faded pretty good bit. Probably without doing any math, it's faded probably 10% at least. But I'll do the math toward the end if I don't forget. But yeah, so there's some confluence going on. The fact that the upper trend line of the this channel on the yearly chart also kind of coincides with the 2020's closing price as well as near 2021's opening price. So I'm going to draw a price level there and notate that area was 2020 close 152.34. Okay, yeah, so maybe about 70 cents difference between 2020's close and 2021's open. So not significant at all. Um, so yeah, let's do that. Price level here. Let's call it 2020 close. I'm gonna double that. Okay. Oh, 152.34. Sorry, let me change that. Okay, there we go. All right, so got 2020 close marked. It looks like it has fallen as low as about 50% into 2020's candle, but let me do some quick math here. Uh, about 109. So not quite. So 109.53 is about midway between the high and the low of this candle. So about right here. But as far as the real body, let's do some math on that. All right, so 120. All right, so just above 120. And I'm going to mark that area since Qualcomm almost tested that area. So I'm just going to mark that What is it? 120.69. Okay. This is gonna be okay. So there we go. All right. So as you can see, the majority of the price action for the year 2021 so far has been between these two levels. Um, obviously, the obviously it the price action is in phase two of the market cycle. Might be entering phase three where it just kind of consolidates maybe, but we still need to see how 2021 shakes up. Um, but like I said before, pay close attention to this area on this yearly chart. As you can see, every time it hits this area, it fades back down to um, the lower trend line. And you can see for most of the years that it's been traded as a publicly traded company, it has traded toward the lower end or the lower range of this overall range, and finally had like a breakout, uh, really toward the end of 2019 and on into 2020. So that's just pretty recent in terms of this yearly chart. But let's move on to the monthly chart and see what's going on with Qualcomm there. Okay. All right, so monthly chart, you can certainly see where the price finally broke out just under $90 and had a nice markup here. Obviously, on this monthly chart, definitely in phase three of the market cycle. Um, that's and I've said this in previous videos. You don't always expect, or you can't always expect that when the price enters phase three that it's going to transition to phase four. Sometimes it just continues, it kind of consolidates for a bit and then continues upward. So be open to any of those possibilities happening. But what I'm seeing here on the monthly chart recently is a series of higher lows and higher highs. So especially over the past 3 months, well, 2.5 months, including July. So, as far as the monthly chart is concerned, I'd be looking at this one low 140s area. Last month, the month of June, closed right at 142.93. So that's a level that I would be watching for the rest of this month and moving forward to see if Qualcomm can break that level. And I'm actually just going to mark this, and it's just going to be like a minor level on the monthly chart to watch to the upside. Um, let's see. I'll call that. I think it's 142.95. If not, I'll go back and fix it. All right, 93. Okay, 93. Okay, so June close, we have that mark, and as you can see, for the month of July so far, it has struggled to break above that. It did shortly, or it did briefly. I mean, it hit 146 and then it pivoted downward the other way. But so far, it has not moved below the close or the low of June. So right now, I'd be watching Qualcomm between overall between 2020 close and that 50% of 2020 real body level. So between about 152 and 120, I'd be watching that, but I'd also be paying attention to this 143-ish area as well. Um, to see if the price can beat that and head back toward 150. Um, that's about it when it comes to the monthly chart. I'm not really nothing else is really popping out at me. So I'm just going to go ahead and take a look at the weekly chart for this one. All right, so with the weekly chart, you can see it a lot better. You can see for sure how the price just really struggles above 143. And you can see my crosshairs there. For a good part of pretty much the end of 2020, toward the end of 2020 and heading into 2021, the price, held steady above that. But then here you can see it had a nice drop from the all-time high down toward this 120, 121 area. So um, same thing is happening here. Bounce from there, bounce from the low 120s. Price headed up to 143 and failed there, and it's kind of on a downward trend again. Earnings is coming up on the 28th, so it may or may not, run a little bit. Qualcomm does tend to run a bit. Looks like it has a habit of running after um, dividend. So basically, and this of course isn't investment advice at all, but basically, for the most part, historically, where you're wanting to swing call Qualcomm, and like I said, this isn't investment advice, is you want to be looking to get in around the time that they announce a dividend for a swing trade. That appears to be like the best, one of the best possible scenarios. And they usually announce earnings, about a month or so after, uh, a few weeks or so after earnings. So you can see here where the price kind of ran a little bit from 130s up to mid 140s. You can see here where the price ran from low 120s up to almost 140. You can see here where the price ran from 145 to the all-time high. So that's one of the things about um, learning to read a chart is you can find patterns, and in knowing those patterns, you can learn to take advantage of those patterns. Um, but yeah, so I'm not necessarily seeing um, a whole lot besides that on this weekly chart. I see here where a bullish trend line was broken, and this is the trend line that I'm speaking of here. So this area was broken, and the price has just been kind of consolidating since then. So be looking for signs of the price breaking these key levels, whether it be to the upside or to the downside. Um, just gonna make this like yellow or something. But yeah, that's what else can I see here with Qualcomm? Mm, nothing really. Nothing really. Let's move on to the daily chart. Okay. So the daily chart, you can see a lot more of that consolidation where the price is just pretty much range bound. And so what I like to look for when a price is range bound is I like to look for, especially if the range is wide enough, I like to look for points in time where the price hits the those extremes of the range. and try to catch a position in the opposite direction. Um, Here I'm seeing a gap on the daily chart. Now this gap was filled, but for me, if you look closely, you can see that for the most part, the price has been trading in that gap. You know what I'm saying? So that's definitely something to keep in mind. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark the downside or the downward, the lower trend line or the lower level of that gap. So let's see, 128.87. Call that lower gap daily. Um, yeah, I guess I'll do that and make it orange. So lower gap on the daily chart right around just below 129, and the upper end of that gap is about mid 140s. But you can also count this 143 areas. It's fine. But you can see that most of the price action over the past since February, since toward the end of February, has been concentrated between those two levels. Um, let's see where the 50 and the 200 is. Okay, so as you can see, the price is currently sitting below the 200 but above the 50. So we got a death cross happen here. So the spread here isn't necessarily getting wider, it seems. It's just kind of stalling. And that's due to that consolidation. But be looking to see if that 50-day moving average holds, which is right at 135, and then see if the price can get above that 200-day moving average right at 139 and some change. Um, Short term, we got a pattern here where, let's see, let me do some quick little math. 143. Okay, so short term, if this 50-day moving average breaks, then this thing could go down here to the lower gap daily. So be watching that, short term. Watch that 135.5. Definitely watch that 139 area. If it rejects that and heads back toward that 50-day moving average and breaks there, then the price could certainly head below 130 and hit that lower gap daily. So I'd definitely be watching that. Personally, I'm going to be watching that and maybe considering a position. But we'll see. We'll just, see how it goes. Because Qualcomm isn't a company that, although I have shares, I don't necessarily watch it all the time because I just buy and hold. So there's, for me, there's no need to watch the ins and outs of the price action for this company. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me put a little text note here so that, when I pull it up, I'll have that reminder. Um, okay, let's see. There we go. So let's make this white for sure. little bit larger, bold that out. Um, Put the arrow on there. Did that wrong. Okay. Wait. In fact, let's put it, see how it looks over here. And then I'm gonna need to put my arrow on the left. Okay. So that's pretty much it when it comes to Qualcomm. It's been consolidating for a while, so be on the lookout. Watch those levels for it to either continue to consolidate or to have a bearish move or have a bullish move. I gave you guys some levels that I'll be, watching in any case, and even discuss, some short-term potential as far as, maybe a possible swing trade. But yeah, I hope to catch you guys in the next video. Let me know in the comments what you think about this one. And I wish you well, and I hope you guys stick around and join me for the rest of the challenge. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next episode of Market Markup.